Before we get into this episode, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. You can hit the notification button so you can get updated weekly on all of our latest content. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, tell us what you want to see next below. So today is the perfect time to have both of you in studio because Michael Bostic has thrown his back out while I'm 600 years pregnant. How's your back doing?
It's not great. I'm not going to lie. It's not great.
The fact that there's been so many Curb Your Enthusiasm moments with this back situation.
Right.
People on Instagram story think I'm being funny. I'm being factual.
You know what, though? I had a business partner call me a minute ago, and he's like, well, how's it going? How you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm great, other than I threw out my back. And he's like, listen, man, I think men who throw out their backs, they get it. It's so debilitating. He's like, well, you got a lot going on. He's like, among all the other things, you got another kid on the way. He's like, you don't know how stressful that actually is. So it's not, I'm in this with you.
He told me, I told you guys off air, we were getting on an airplane and he was like, who's going to put the luggage in the bin? And I looked at him like,
yeah. I found a nice like old lady, and I said, "Hey, can you get can you get that up there?"
No, he's like looking at me to put the luggage in the bin. I had to ask like another guy that had muscles. But
if that happens to your back, you literally can't move. Yes. I mean, it goes all through you, and I get that.
It is debilitating, and it's probably like an energetic thing. So you might want to like see where you have some blockages there. Maybe?
I think it's because, you know what? She's been pregnant, and instead of just like going through it and not like I thought that she would be a lot quieter during this pregnancy, but she's been in my ear complaining so much.
So you are taking on some energetic stress.
I think that like it's probably her fault.
He's carrying my bullshit.
You're carrying her. Yeah, you're carrying the baby.
I am a huge, and we might have talked about this on our first episode, fan of Louise Hay.
Yes.
And in her book, she has a list of every single ailment from cold sores to colon cancer to back pain of what they mean.
Yes.
And each area of the body like means something. So like one hip is like your father and one hip is your mother. I'm going to go see what back pain means in that book.
Probably your spouse being a pain in the ass.
Oh, no.
Which frequency should we listen to at night for back pain?
Oh, pain support for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a big one.
Pain support. I have pulled my back so many times in my life. I used to be a hairdresser way back in my other life. And so I just have that lower back is, not as strong. And so I pulled my back a ton. So I know exactly how you feel. So I am really sorry because that sucks.
Pain support, though, is a great
But the
one.
pain support for me, it's usually within like a minute. It really helps.
So the frequency, like literally like, is this the right word? Reverberates into your back?
Yeah. So what's happening, I mean, I know I was joking about the energetic thing, but it's really the truth is that's where something starts. So if you have an energetic disturbance, it's going to eventually manifest in your physical cells and tissues. So that's what's happened. Something's going on physically, which is like your root chakra or your sacral chakra, that area, which is survival, grounding, pleasure. Something might be a little disturbed. And so the frequencies do talk to the cells and they talk to the energy body. And so if something's out of balance, the frequencies are going to help make those cells oscillate at that proper frequency to come into alignment, basically, so the energy flows properly. So it helps. Yeah, your mindset also helps too. And chiropractic and massage and anything else you can do like that, it all helps together. But the frequencies definitely help the pain subside.
In summary, this pregnancy has been really hard on me.
He does have a lot going on, which is really interesting. So I imagine him like one of those people like in the Sierra Desert carrying all this like a knapsack on his back. And that's how he feels energetically. So
yes, he is. No, seriously, you're carrying a lot.
You do have a lot going on.
I'm one of those people.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, maybe you guys will. I am like, if I have a task to do, I just like a zone bloodhound will get it done regardless of what's going on, regardless of stressors, regardless. Like I just will just do the thing and suffer through whatever I need to do to get through it. And then when
complaints.
And then when I'm done, I go and like, okay, man, I gotta like take care of myself. But I kind of disregard all the signals to say slow down while I'm in the thing. So I think that's a lot of people.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
38. So when I was 34, 35, I sold the company and was able to retire, financially independent, blah, blah, blah. And it was a blast. And over the next 3 months, I grew 2 inches taller.
Stop.
I was 6 foot tall. At 35, I went up 2 inches. And the doctor said that my growth platelets had been suppressed by the stress. And I was the same way. Get it done. I had 300 employees. I was bam, bam every day. And when that release happened and I breathed, it just released. And I went, my pants started getting short. I said, this is stupid. You don't grow when you're in your 30s. And when it all released, I went up 2 inches.
Henry, are you telling me that my husband, when he's not stressed, is going to grow 2 inches? What else grows? Are there other things that grow? The return on investment sounds amazing. He's going to grow 2 inches.
So if you're nice and put up his luggage, he will grow in places that you're going to love the rest of your life.
This is amazing.
And listen to frequency.
You might send him off for a retreat. And
I might sell this company today. Who's buying?
Yeah.
Right?
That's funny.
Hey, but seriously,
that's serious though. That's the thing.
I believe you. I really do, because I think that as I've gotten older, and I'm still not super old, but I've realized the toll that stress takes on you, and I've gotten better at managing over the years. But even when I think about how I just thought about life in general years ago, it's like I'm much better at managing it.
Yeah.
But it for sure, it takes a physical and mental toll,
and it accumulates. Like it always accumulates. And when I sold, it was like 2 or 3 months that I didn't even realize what kind of stress I was under. Because I was working out, running. Like I never got sick. I didn't have any of the signs. But when I sold and that tension was relieved and I didn't have 300 employees anymore, it was like, breathe, and things just opened up and mentally, physically, spiritually, everything.
Let me ask you this. This is just like maybe a personal question, then we'll get into more stuff. But
yeah,
when you sold and you go from this, high performer, go, all these people counting on you, what do you do on like day 2 or 3? Like what happened to your life? Are you even able to adjust to that life?
That's a great question. I don't particularly enjoy golf like a lot of my friends do. I always tell people I could create a business in the 4 hours it's going to take me to hit a ball around the course, So I never got into that. I don't really garden. I was interviewed a few months after that, and they said, what would you do if money wasn't an issue, if you could do anything in the world? And I said, I'm doing it. I love business. So I started dabbling in real estate. I would buy these things. I would flip this. I would, invest in that. And I was always like in the game, but I wasn't in it so heavy that I started to feel all the pressure again, because I'd already felt it and was released from it. And when I was going back into different types of businesses, when I didn't have to like fight for every dollar, I wouldn't find to put food on the table or anything like that. It was totally different. And it was something that I enjoyed. That's what I love about SOAAK. I'm doing it because I love it, not because I have to do it. And I'm bringing pleasure to other people. And, anyway, I know we'll get into that later, but when I felt that release and came back, I actually went back to business, but I viewed it a different way because I was in a different level.
Mm-hmm. And when you started your first companies, was it like you get out of school and just go that whole time between, I guess your early 20s to 30, like you never took a break? Ever?
Yeah. No, I was working for a Fortune 500 corporation. I was rated the top 2% in the whole company worldwide. They wanted to move me to New York or LA. I did this in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was constant. I loved it though. Like I thrived on winning and competing and all of that. So when I backed back out of that and I could do the things I wanted to do, like I said, my life just started to change.
When you started a new business later on, knowing what you know about running your 300 employee company and selling it and everything, what were the things that you left behind and what were the things that you took into your new company?
I left behind all the employees and I embraced technology more.
So you ran it lean and mean.
I ran it lean and mean, had the right people on the bus, was more specific on who I would hire because I could tell. I could see the signs of, oh yeah, we had people like that in the other company and it didn't work out so well. Or we had some people like that, it worked out great. Yes, I want to bring you aboard. But running more lean and mean for me was a better way. Like,
why didn't you like having 300 employees? Like reflecting on it now, why?
Well, in context of this conversation, having the stress of having to make 300 employees paychecks every week and every month and being responsible for their families and all that, even though I would delegate, a lot, the buck still stopped with me.
Right.
And in my other business, it was schools. So you didn't get a second chance with schools. I invested in Subway restaurants and Starbucks and things like that. that was easy peasy. Like that was nothing. But the schools having 300 employees that were responsible for kids' health and wellness, like I told some of my people when I bought some Subway restaurants, it was like, if we mess up with the Subway restaurant, you could make another sandwich. But when I was running the schools, you mess up with the kid and it's devastating, So fortunately we did it the right way. We had like a year waiting list and everything was fine, but you just felt that pressure and that, answering to so many people.
Yeah, I think by far that is the most stressful thing about being an entrepreneur is being an employer. And like if I make a mistake for myself, I'm confident that I'll go and figure out what to do and how to live and how to take care of my family. But that kind of pressure, it's a different kind of pressure because like I said, when you have somebody else's livelihood in a way in your hands, it's a different deal.
Yeah.
And there's different repercussions.
Right. No, 100%. And I've always cared about people. I had one of my buddies call me the other day and he said, Henry, everything that you've ever gotten into, it's always about making people's lives better. And if you really care, you take that on, no matter if you think you're going to take it on or not. Like you feel that pressure and it's sort of self-inflicting, but it's not all bad either because you want to do the right thing. You want to be there for your people and all that. And like I said, we had a year waiting list. We were the best in the whole region. But it kind of piles on you. So not having as many employees was great. If we get to the point where, and we're probably 50 or 60 right now, but they're all responsible. They have managers. They have I'll give up the monetary part just to have it managed correctly and put somebody in that knows what they're doing and has the same level of care. She loves people. She always cares for people. So we match there and we're willing to give up profitability to have it ran right and have people feel good about where they're working.
So we talked a little bit about the nervous system when you're running a company that big, but why do you think that so many of us are dysregulated? And maybe Laura, you can start. What's keeping people from healing their nervous system? Let's start there because the nervous system, I think, is all the rage for 2024.
Well,
25, buddy.
I'm going to go deep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
Pregnancy brain.
She's got the P card. She can always.
I can't keep track of everything.
Well, funny. Being pregnant, I think, may bring some stress. So there you go. I'll go deep. And I really think so much of our stress and our autonomic nervous system and people not being regulated is from emotional turmoil that we go through every day. Because just think of it, when you're happy and your heart is full and you feel safe and you're loving your life and your relationships, then what is really wrong? You're not really that stressed. It's when you have chaos in your emotions. That's when our actual physical body starts to manifest these things. Stress and immune system gets lowered and we get sick and stuff like that. So, I truly believe that when you have a good emotional state, your body is healthy, your tissues are healthy. And when you're in disarray or emotional turmoil, trauma from being a child that is unprocessed, relationships, your spouse, your boss, or if you're in constant conflict, your nervous system and your body is in fight mode, the fight or flight. So you're always in fight. We read a statistic that I think it was 97% of doctors' visits, or maybe 95 doctors' visits in the U.S. were due to stress. People go to the doctor, all kinds of different ailments. They end up at the doctor because they're stressed. And I'm like, it starts off emotional. It doesn't start off, you getting the flu or whatever. Your immune system was lowered because of emotional stress that you had not dealt with or had not dealt with properly, that then turned into a weak immune system that turned into the flu and then took you to the doctor. Right. So that's my deep answer for, I think, if we are balanced in our emotions and happy and healthy in our mind and in our hearts, then we feel better. And we
had a really smart doctor on the podcast, and he said that exactly what you just said, which is all these people would come to the doctor for stress. And he said he would prescribe two things before anything. He would prescribe community. So are you lonely?
Yes.
Get around community, whatever that looks like, whether it's a date or taking a walk with friends, and sleep. And while I sleep, I
Yes.
do my frequencies.
Yes.
I like to kill two birds with one stone. But he would prescribe sleep and they would come back like a month later feeling exponentially
Yes.
better. So it makes total sense what you're saying. Michael does this thing
Oh, great.
with your nervous system. I want to know what they think, where I call it saber-toothed tiger.
Mm-hmm.
So he's always looking for the saber-toothed tiger. And I told him, oh, he does.
Same.
Henry does it too.
Same.
Okay.
He's like,
so is
who
it
in here
guy
has
thing?
a knife? I'm like,
Who in here has a knife? We're at Deer Media. No one has. I have a nail file.
not
not
here.
in Deer Media.
Not
I
in
know
Deer
you
Media.
have a knife.
like a restaurant.
No, I always look for
they
the
just carry
exit.
swords.
Like, no,
Yeah.
I always look for the exit. Like I'm always like thinking ahead. Like if certain things broke out, I could go here and do this, this, and this. It just happens automatically.
I've
I'm
never
thinking
thought
about,
about
like,
that in my life.
Never. I'm like, what am
Ever.
I going to eat?
Because we protect you. I'm protecting
Yeah.
my family.
It's a good thing to do, Lauren. We've had Navy SEALs and military men and police officers come on the show, and they say situational awareness is important.
100%.
We literally were watching A Little Princess for family movie night with popcorn and snacks in our pajamas the other night, and you were doing it. And I'm like,
Also,
there's nothing. I'm like, he was doing Sabretooth, and I was like, there's literally nothing. He can't help it. I think it might be unresolved childhood something.
I'm
So
sure.
was that right
I'm sure.
before you pulled your back? I'm just curious.
No, I
Yes,
pulled-
it was.
I
We're
wasn't-
going to get to the
I-
root of
It
this
was
issue.
Friday, and
I
you pulled it
No,
Saturday.
I pulled my back a month ago, and then
Oh,
I
we have to hear
didn't
the whole
listen to
history.
myself, and then I re-injured it on Saturday. But
Okay.
it was after Little Princess. Isn't that
Okay.
movie about like the dad going off to war and never coming
It's
home?
a
or something?
little stressful, but
Yeah.
Donna likes
Why are
it.
you showing this to our children?
Well, I think we're uncovering some stuff here.
I mean, listen,
but all
there is
that's
no doubt that I have unresolved trauma. There's
We
no
all
doubt.
do.
all that's very natural though, because our brains, our DNA, even in our DNA, we're, depending on your belief system, we're thousands, millions, billions of years old, and we're programmed to do that. It's the fight or flight. We're programmed to protect ourselves because back in the day, you've got saber-toothed tigers literally coming at you, and sometimes that's handed down through your DNA. And we learn through epigenetics, we've studied that a lot, where you can change that DNA strand by virtue of your environment. So you don't have to just accept, well, my mom did it, her mom did it, her mom did it, her mom did it. You can actually control that and change that through your environment, through rest and digest, through sleeping properly, through meditating, what you think about, you bring about, through frequency therapies. Like, all of that stuff is created today to help you unravel some of that stuff and not just be a victim of your past, but a victor of your future.
I think we should
love
talk
what you're
about
saying.
that.
Yeah, what you think about, you bring about. Talk
sure.
a little bit more about that, because I'm a huge believer in that.
Yeah, well, mindfulness is one of the most important tenets of SOAAK technologies. And our saying around the office is what you think about, you bring about, because so many things, so many ways you interpret things, will show up in your life as maybe a physical symptom later or a problem or whatever. So that door could open and two of us could think about, there's somebody intruding, we're gonna have to fight. Two of us, other people could be thinking, it's my kid walking through the door, it's gonna be fine. But what you think about, how you interpret that, you actually bring about. And you've counseled a lot of people on this.
Yeah. It's, it's crazy because we create our reality around us. So where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so I love this. Joe Dispenza, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he is amazing and teaches all about the science of this exact topic. But he talks about how when you have a heightened emotion and you're intending on something at the moment, that is exactly what you're creating. So in that moment of your saber-toothed tiger issue or moment,
Issue.
Thank you.
You're
It is.
giving her
I'm
ammunition.
trying to tread lightly, but
Michael,
it is
we'll
an
get back
issue.
at it in a
We'll
minute.
get, I'll get her.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm writing mental note.
In that moment, you are creating your reality. And so if you're ready and you're thinking, oh, something's going to happen, and you have that heightened emotion, you actually can feel the adrenaline come up in the body. That is what you're going to create. So eventually that situation or scenario might happen to you, which, as me and Lauren, that situation will never happen because we are not creating that reality for ourselves. We're creating a different reality. And so it's so important for people to understand how powerful their minds are, how powerful full their bodies are and how easy it is to manifest things. It's just that heightened emotion. So if you have a heightened emotion of, let's say you're in a Zen place and you're full of joy and love, it's something where you can do it in your daily life. So it's like if you're looking at your baby in that moment, that 20 seconds where you're looking at your baby and you're like, I just love her. I love, that feeling of like that joy that you really don't get throughout the rest of the day. Take that motion and take that moment, take that emotion and intend something for your life. This day is going to go beautiful because it's that heightened emotion. So your energy field is expanded. Your heart chakra is expanded. And so that is where you attract exactly what you're feeling in that moment. So if you then take your mind and you think, this day is going to go amazing, or this business deal is going to come through. When you have that heightened emotion, that is your best chance of manifestation. It's the heightened emotion plus the intention paired at the same time. That's like the magic. That's what Joe Dispenza teaches. It's so true.
What's interesting about, as you were talking, I was telling Lauren this the other day. So, and this is, I don't even know if I can even articulate this the right way. So you might have to plug in the gaps or read between the lines or the tea leaves. Get woo on you. Yeah. But this is our third child, right? And I'm in the middle of this process, throwing my back out, a lot of stress, a lot of things going on. But I also, during this period, achieved a bunch of great things that I was working on. And what I realized when I was reflecting, I was like, oh, with our first child, I was also in a bunch of pain and turmoil, but then also made something happen. Then second child, same thing. Third one, now it's like, there's these moments in time. I think the moment is, at least for me, there's a new person coming into the picture. It adds more responsibility to me. The emotion matches the action that I need to do in a very short period of time.
Right.
And then a big thing happens, but it comes with a lot of this cost that I haven't figured out.
Right.
But as you were talking, I was like, well, why can't I just make that action or that thing happen all the time, but not in such a dysregulated? Does this make sense what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's like almost like the life event of the child creates this thing where then I have to take these kind of like massive steps in a short period that come with a cost.
Yes.
But actually then in turn, like I get a lot of the things that I'm working on done. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
Yeah. It's like that grit and determination is so strong in you in that moment because it's do or die time. You have to get this done. And that is why the energy and that emotion is so strong. And then your intent is stronger in that moment because you have to get it done before this date.
It's like tunnel vision.
That is the power in manifestation, is that emotion plus the intention. So in these moments where you have a ticking clock, you get stuff done. No matter what the emotion, really, you are intending so,
because
strong.
she was giving me shit. She was like, "Oh my God, every time I'm pregnant, you're like doing that." But then I started to think, I'm like, well, there's a pattern to that, right? Like every time there's a baby coming, there's a thing going on.
Yes.
Are you sure it's not because you need a little bit of attention? Because I'm getting the attention.
No, I think what it is, but now that I've analyzed it, it's like this greater purpose and urgency with an intense focus on a constricted timeline to do something.
Right.
You got to
so
get it done.
So if you have a
fast.
baby every year, he is going to rule the world.
He's going to run. And
he's going to have to get a milkmaid.
We also, I grew up, my father was a pastor. I don't know if you guys knew that.
I didn't
know that.
Yeah, I grew up in the church, and we were talking earlier about playing music and doing all this stuff. So I've always loved music, always had an ear for that. But I've always heard him teach about how all things work together for our good as well. And no matter how painful something is in the moment, if you look for what lesson you're learning from that or what you can see, maybe that turned you to the right and you were going to go to the left. I recently really hurt my rib. I was, same thing, working out, pushing limits, all that. And it kind of grounded me for 4 or 5 days. And I thought, I've got to do so much. Like I would have been doing this, and this. And I stopped myself and I stopped all the chaos going off in my mind. And I said, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I do? I know that all things work for my good. I know this is going to be good for me. And I sat there, Michael, and created 2 or 3 things for our business that I would have never had that time to sit down and create if that hadn't have happened. So some people say, well, that was bad. I'm sorry it did this. And I look at it opposite. I say, this is great. It's given me the opportunity to do something else.
I think that that's a really good tip.
No, I think it's great advice.
Anyone who, I think that you can turn charcoal into gold with anything if you're clever enough.
Yes.
Exactly.
I really believe
if you
that.
think about it.
There is that what you did, how you sat there and you had space to think and clarity, that you were clever to use that time.
Yep. So when people come to both of you at this point, and you work with a lot of people and help people get on the right path, and they say, okay, easy for you to say, you think that way, I don't, I have these circumstances, you don't. How do you kind of snap them out of that and get them to start looking at the good or what's coming to them as opposed to just focusing on what's not?
Yeah. Well, you have to listen to them first and let them know that we are all equal. You know, a lot of times people see people in the limelight or behind the mic and say, oh, you guys got it made. You never have a problem, you know, blah, 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 blah. But that's not true. We have the same problems as everybody else. We get up every day. We have to deal with our kids. We have to deal with life. We have to deal with bills. We have to deal with, you know, all these things. So just letting people know that everybody's equal on the same level, firstly. And then because of that, we can relate to each other. Like I can share with you things that I do that will work just as easy in your life as they had in mine. It's not because I'm at, you know, the guy behind the mic or leading the company or doing dishes or cleaning toilets. It doesn't matter. Like we're all equal. And I think something else my father taught me, if you act out of an unconditional loving heart, no matter what you do, people are going to be more receptive when they know you care, when they know you're coming from that level of what can I do to really help you? No strings attached.
Don't you think that that's a frequency that humans put out?
100%.
Because I think that like I'm so into like hertz and frequencies, as you guys know. We listen to them every single night the whole time we sleep.
Yes.
But what I've found is with interactions, especially interviewing people, there's a frequency, and sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's frenetic and sometimes it's the energy's off, but like the frequency, a lot of it comes from the person. Do you feel that?
1,000%. That's why somebody can walk into a room and change the atmosphere of the room.
Yeah.
Like, and you can get somebody in and say, oh my gosh, what's wrong with him or her? And the whole frequency of the room kind of starts to dip a little bit. Or you can get somebody that walks in and has life and love and gratitude in their heart. And they're going, I want to be around that guy.
Right.
Like, I don't care. So the science says, and we could measure this stuff now with all the computing and everything that we have to measure with, but science says now we could measure 3 to 6 feet out from our heart. You've got a certain frequency that emanates from your heart 3 to 6 feet out that people can actually feel. And that's that shocked me. Like I didn't know it was that far. And more messages go from your heart to your brain than your brain to your heart.
It's so funny you say that because I walked in and when your son was here and he did that verse, I walked out and I was walking to the bathroom like, oh, my back feels good for a second. And I swear to God, I swear to God.
I know.
Oh, Michael's drinking the morning Kool-Aid.
But I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting better. And I swear to God, because you walk in, it's just pure good energy.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
no, we had him memorize John 3:16. And when I have him do that with people, it wasn't by accident I had him even do that in this room because it changed the frequency of the room, just FYI.
Well, you just immediately walk in and feel good.
But people will hear him repeat that. Hudson, this is for you, son. People will hear him repeat that and I've seen people get chills. I've seen people reach out and want to hug him or touch him or be there because of the purity, because it is God's word, because it's life, it's love, and there's no strings attached. Like he really is doing it because he loves it. And I think if we act that way in our day-to-day lives, it's different. You do put out that frequency. You can change your room for the better. You can change your relationship for the better.
Yeah.
And even little, I'm like sarcastic sometimes to her. And she has taught me to watch my mouth because even if I'm joking around or say something snarky to her, it still changes the atmosphere of the room. Even if it's a joke. I said, it's a joke. Like, lighten up. But it changed that moment and it changed the frequency of our relationship. So I've had to watch my mouth more because I'm a quick thinker. I want to get back. I want to, it's all good and fun and all that. And there's limits. I'm not trying to go way, either side of the paradigm here on you, but she's taught me to watch what I say because there's power in our words.
I think that you guys should just give us compliments all the time and that frequency will really elevate us
Yes.
to be our best.
Your
Lauren,
skin is
Lauren,
glowing.
You're beautiful. This is the best I've ever seen you look.
I don't know
honestly.
about that.
You've got the glow.
You are
Michael,
the most
You can't
beautiful
lie.
pregnant
Michael,
woman.
she was saying that you and I should just give our significant others compliments all day long. But I think that's a two-way street.
Yeah.
By the way, just if anyone's listening, their son, Hudson, shared a Bible verse with us, and he's 3.5 years old. So that's what we're referring to, where it made Michael's back feel better.
No.
John
I
3:16.
just when I walked in the room, when I wasn't expecting to see a young child,
Yeah.
right? And immediately you're just like, oh, because it's like a happy environment, right? It just
Right.
changed.
Right.
That's one of the best things about having kids, by the way, is you just see pure,
Yes.
innocent, happy
Yes.
energy.
You
and
can
as we
see it through them too.
Yes.
Especially if you do mushrooms and the next day you go home and then you look at your kids. If you do mushrooms, go home the next day after.
don't go home on mushrooms. To your
We
kid.
went after a
Noted.
party the next day. We went home and I was like looking at my kids and I was like, oh my, it's like you can see through them. It's the weirdest.
That's
Wow.
cool.
That's a
Wow.
frequency.
Okay,
right?
it is.
No.
It totally is. And going back to your question earlier, how can people change their perspective if they're like really rooted in, not so great feelings or not so happy emotions? First of all, anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible. And all you have to do is change your perception. So you can see one thing, maybe it's an apple. Everybody can see it completely different. Your perception of it could be, oh, that's old. It's getting dark. It's not as red as it could be. Mine is like, I'm so hungry. It's just juicy. And I know that's going to be so delicious. And his could be different. It is your perception.
And Michael says, what's at the core of that?
I wonder if its back hurts.
Yeah,
No,
there you go.
kidding.
Lauren actually doesn't like when I crunch apples. So
Okay, so she might not like the apple just because of you. So you see what I mean? It's all about perception. So if you understand anything is possible and you choose in your mind, it is willpower. That's where it starts. I'm going to change my perception of this situation. I'm going to pick out one thing that I could be grateful for. I'm grateful that it's going to nourish me. I'm grateful for whatever. Like you can find one thing to be grateful for, whatever it is the situation is. And that right there starts the change. And if you make that a habit of acting and reacting from that place instead of just digging your heels and being the way you are, change, and try that perpetuates a higher frequency.
Yeah.
So let's play a game.
Okay.
Yep.
So Michael's been sending me screenshots of AI, Chat GPT, of all the bad things that can happen when you hurt your back.
no, that's not
Okay,
true.
what have you been sending? I'm going to read them, so be careful.
ChatGPT has been my
Yeah.
medical counselor.
Okay.
It's telling me what to do.
No,
I
And
ask
so
it-
I look at it
Are
all
you
the time.
sending me things about surgery and herniated discs?
no, I didn't. Go pull it up.
Okay,
Go pull it up.
I'm going to pull it up.
It's telling me how to. What's interesting about ChatGPT, and I know you guys are working on an AI thing as well, which I want to talk about.
Right.
But I will go there before I'll go to my doctor these days. I'll be like, "What
I
would
know.
you do?" And then I'll ask the doctor what
Yep.
the doctor
Yes.
thinks.
Same.
It's
He does the
crazy.
same
This was
thing.
today's. While most herniated discs heal on their own within 12 weeks, some severe herniations require longer-term treatment.
No, I sent
That
you.
is literally what he sent me. So here's
I
the
sent
game.
you that to show you that it's not an overnight heal.
Right.
It
Oh,
takes,
I know.
It takes
You've reminded
time.
me.
Yes.
So here's what
gotta
I
move on from this back
no,
issue.
but I have to say this is going to help everyone who has an issue in their life. If you have an issue in your life and you're focused because it's so painful, whether emotional or physical pain, and you're so focused on that pain that you almost can't see anything else, what would you guys recommend to get you out of that? Besides changing your mindset and saying, I'm so
Yeah.
grateful, what are tools that someone can do?
So if it were me, I would do, the frequencies obviously are passive and they work so well without you having to do anything. So that's really helpful because when you are down, it's really hard to muster up the willpower to do something. So that's why we love the frequencies. But to go a step further, I love meditation. I would Google a Joe Dispenza meditation on back pain and sit there and let him, and put your headphones in and let him just walk you through a meditation on back
because
pain.
he hurt his back.
Because that I believe that is the most powerful thing you can do, is do a meditation and be very specific on, I have back pain or my shoulders hurt or whatever it is you're trying to do, and meditate, because it's when you're quiet and when you're still and when your intention is locked in with an emotion, that's when the autonomic nervous system and the whole entire body can relax and be in a state of not fight or fight or flight, but calm and rest and
Rest and
digest.
digest.
That right there is when the body can heal. And Joe Dispenza is so cool, but all of his meditations and testimonials, he has so many people that do 1 or 2 meditations and get completely healed, like
Yeah. She's I've heard this.
instantaneously.
This is an amazing tip.
It's because the energy, they're moving that energy out. It's so cool.
No, I have no doubt about the power of that. But Lauren, I guess, and listen, I'm gonna move on from this issue. But I will be like,
Still here.
I'll be like, somebody shot me in the shoulder and I have a gunshot wound. She'd be like, well, if you just thought about it
If you just
differently,
thought
it wouldn't
that bullet
be there.
right out
And I'm
of
like,
your
no, I'm bleeding everywhere. It is here. And
I just
in
think
the moment I
the
need
mind is
medical
powerful.
intervention.
Right. Look, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
She's like, you big baby.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, but I do think that if anyone's listening and they're in any kind of pain, emotional, physical, whatever it is, you're right. You can Google a meditation on whatever that is.
Yes.
And clearing your head and relaxing your nervous system would be good.
All agreed upon points. But sometimes you actually have a real injury that needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
But
no, I've actually got a backstory that I hurt my back like horrible. We came back to talk about backs.
Episode, the back
No,
episode.
this is very important, and I hope you get something out of it. And this is very near and dear to my heart. But when I was in my 20s, and I grew up playing all sports, I was athletic, working out, all this stuff, and over time I had hurt my back really bad. I had 2 vertebrae that had fused, and there was a pinched nerve, and I was going to have surgery. Went to a chiropractor for 2 years, and he had all the X-rays down. He said, this is getting worse, worse, worse. And so I was in college, and I came back to town, and I went to my father's little storefront office church area. And I said, Dad, I've lost like 25, 30 pounds. I couldn't go to my classes in the morning at school. I'd have to get up 30 minutes before and hang on one of those inverted where you put on your
boots.
Shoes and hang that way from your heels.
Oh my God.
Just trying to stretch it out. Yeah, I couldn't hardly function. And I went to him and I said, I'm here and I'm gonna, I need to have back surgery. And he said, would you like me to pray for you? And I get emotional thinking about it, but he reached over and had like a 2-minute prayer. And that was close to 40 years ago. And I've never had a back pain since. I went back to my chiropractor and he said, what did you do? Because he showed me my back with the fused vertebrae and he showed me a perfect backbone. And he said, this is your back now. And I said, I was healed.
Where do we find this guy?
No, it's
Where can we find? Can we get Hudson to do this over his back?
Okay,
Yes.
let me tell you this. So this guy, he had just gone through a divorce, split the church. My mind said, there's no way this could ever work. Like I wasn't going into it thinking it would work. That's the thing. I was a little upset. I was just going by as a courtesy. And when he had a 2-minute prayer with me and it totally healed me, totally documented, I thought I can never judge the person or where it's coming from. I have to turn my attention onto my Heavenly Father who created me, who's made with unconditional love, and I've got to receive it from him. So my father was a vessel. I've seen him pray for other people. People have been healed. He went on a 40-day water-only fast twice.
Wow.
Water only twice. The doctor said, unless God's told you to do this, you better not do it. But he was committed. But what that taught me, Lauren, was where can I get a hold of this guy? That guy, that creator is in all of us right now. And as we can tap into that and pull from that unconditional love of God that wants us healed, that wants us whole, we can be made whole.
So maybe I'll pray over you tonight.
You should every night.
That's a very
Pray over me
good.
or to me?
Over him, right?
Yeah, because that's in you.
And my daughter, they would like that.
You come into an agreement with him.
Well, listen, I think, whatever way you find faith or a higher power or inspiration or whatever you may call it, like I think that it's not good when humanity moves away from that kind of thing. So like I don't push religion or my perspective or faith on anyone.
Me neither.
But I don't think it does us any good to block that part of our psyche off.
Correct.
Right? And the more disconnected you get from, call it nature or a higher power, whatever it may be, I think the harder it is to kind of make sense of a lot of things that happen in life in general.
Right.
And so having that, like, I was listening to somebody talk and they're saying, listen, if you're out there and you're trying to do hard things and get through a hard life and you just want to do it on your own, like that's a really hard way to go about it. Like you need every kind of help and asset that you can get. So why not look to a higher power to help you do it?
Yeah.
You guys speak to people from all different backgrounds. You talk to biohackers, to spiritual seekers. What's the most shocking thing that you've seen from someone using a wellness method of frequencies?
Oh, wow. Probably my favorite story is somebody that's close to us. It was his ex-wife at the time was in the hospital. And he was pretty desperate. She was in a ton of pain on a ton of morphine. And he took her the frequencies. He's like, last resort, I don't know what else to do. Took her the frequencies and she played the pain support frequency and all pain was gone completely.
Yeah.
And
when morphine wouldn't work.
When morphine wouldn't work. And you know,
And you would know this guy if I said his name. He's a very high level celebrity.
They were open to the things, more woo-y things, but it was like last resort. She was just in so much pain. And so that's one of my favorite, like, whoa, he called us and was just like, you guys, oh my gosh.
She requested it every day for him to come back and play that.
Which frequency was it so I can play it tonight?
The pain support.
The pain support.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's just the pain support on the app.
on the app. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. For anyone who is unfamiliar with frequencies, I have talked about my love of 528 frequency. I've talked about the love of your app. I use it all the time. What is a frequency in a very digestible term?
Yes. You want to take it?
Well, yeah. So, no, I think you should take this, matter of fact, because you came from the clinic and you know more of the clinic side.
Yeah. So, very long story short, we came from a clinic. We still have our clinic. And so we did frequency therapy in clinic where somebody would come and sit down. They would put on bone conducting headsets or headphones, and they would sit and they would listen to a frequency, which is a hertz. So a hertz is a waveform. It's actually a sound that's in a waveform. And depending on the number, so there's 528, there's 432, there's 10,000, there's all different numbers of hertz. And so it's a waveform. So when you listen, it actually is... it's helping your cells oscillate at a proper frequency. So you can imagine our bodies are energy and we're spinning wheels of energy. So, the chakras are all spinning wheels of energy. Our cells are all spinning wheels of energy. So yeah, we have trillions and trillions of cells in our bodies and they're all spinning and communicating with each other. And so our frequencies are also talking to our cells, helping them oscillate properly. So if your energy is chaotic, they're oscillating not properly, like all in disarray. So our frequencies are telling them, hey, go in a circle. This is the frequency. This is how fast you're supposed to be spinning. This is the hertz you're supposed to be spinning at. And when that happens, your body is in alignment. Your energy is in alignment. So a frequency is just a sound wave that you're listening to, but our frequencies are different than just 528 hertz that you can find online. Their frequency composition. So the cool part about SOAAK is we came in clinic and we created from our clinical background, we created frequency compositions. So ours are, let's say, the pain support. Pain support could be 20 different frequencies layered on top of each other based off of what our practitioners in clinic said. This is what causes pain. This is what is making inflammation. This is, everything that it could be and everything that could help, we had a frequency for it. And then we layered all those frequencies on top of each other and made it a composition. So that's what our frequencies are. They're all compositions. So it's not just one specific hertz. It's a myriad of frequencies created in clinic by our practitioners for a specific thing. So digestive issues, pain, all the
because if you took one hertz just for one thing and said this is supposed to fix that, you're missing the whole spectrum of what we do with our compositions, that may be 20 of those, because everybody responds to frequency different. And you may be just a little different than somebody needing 528 or 432 or whatever, but with 20 to pull from, because they're adaptogenic, they go to your body and your body uses them as it needs it, and it discards the rest with no negative side effects. So those compositions will wrap up what you need and give you what you need when you need it. And we do that through something called entrainment and sympathetic resonance. That simply means, I use the tuning fork as an example. If
I love that.
If I hit this tuning fork and it's a tuning fork tuned to D, and I hold another tuning fork up next to it, this other tuning fork, without touching it, is going to start to resonate from this one, and you hear D in this one. So frequency compositions is the tuning fork that we strike that doesn't change. It's unrelenting because it can't change. It's digital. And if we play that next to your body cells, that can change because your mind, will, and emotions.
It kind of like snapdragons into you, and the snapdragon forms to what you need.
Yes.
It sounds like.
Exactly right.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah,
the first way that I got introduced to it, which and I'm sure many people, if they have heard of this, but if you're like hesitant at all about frequencies, is with 40 hertz to focus.
Yep.
Like someone's like, hey, play this when you want to work or you really want to get something done. And I started doing it. That was my first introduction. Then I realized,
What was
obviously,
your second?
I think the healing one. Was it the healing one?
Yeah.
528?
And he puts them on every
No, I love
single
it.
night in
That's
our
awesome.
house.
Right.
He
Good.
puts on a frequency. We pick what we need for
Good.
the night.
By the way, I put it on in the whole, when it's time to wind the kids down, I put the frequency on.
They know right
They
away.
know it, like, it
Perfect.
really changes
Perfect.
the energy.
Yeah.
But for people that are like, I don't know how this sounds. Maybe it sounds too woo-woo. Put on 40 hertz when you have to have a big focus session on
Is there one on
work
focus?
and-
that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
we have a focus
Focus.
frequency.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've
40 is the right one, right? Or is it one of them?
They have
It's
a
one of
mixture,
them.
right?
Yeah.
It's
That's
a
our
mixture.
kind of our
Right.
secret sauce of our,
Right.
up to 20. Some have 25 in them that they're layered. They play at a certain cadence, certain timing, certain rate for your intended outcome.
Yeah, and the thing about ours, again, because we were in clinic, so focus, for example, you could play the 40 hertz for focus, but why are you not focusing? So that's what our practitioners did, our round table, and said, what are all the reasons you're not focusing? It could be dehydration. It could be, your brain is firing a certain way. It could be X, Y, Z. So that's when we said all of these frequencies are going to help with every single issue that could be contributing to the lack of focus. And so then we put all of those together. So that's why our frequencies work so well, is because maybe
Their compositions.
maybe you don't need it for Z, you needed it for A. Well, we have all of that in it, so your body's going to take and adapt to what it needs. And because if your body doesn't need it, it's already oscillating properly, so it's not going to do anything. It's just there. But if it needs it, it's going to help entrain that cell to oscillate properly, and then that's when you're going to feel the difference.
So before we started, you guys said off air that you have some new information to share around what you're doing about basically creating personal frequencies for each individual. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this is the most exciting thing that we've done in all of our 9 years of doing this. But we've actually created in our app, and by the time this airs, we'll be up and running. We created in our app something that will actually allow you to obtain your own frequency for the moment, in the moment, for what you need. So coming out of clinic, we identified our top 30 symptoms, the top 30 reasons people came in. And those top ones were anxiety, depression, low energy, low libido, hormone support. We've got 30 of them. There's 30 buckets today you can choose from the app to pick from. We said, what if we could pull in hundreds of frequencies? What if we could pull from hundreds of buckets of frequencies based on the user's biometrics? So based on the user's biometrics of heart rate variability, how much sleep you got, we're going to look at those. We're going to use an element of AI and machine learning to identify exactly what you need when you need it, and we're going to serve it to you. That's huge. That's something that we don't think anybody has ever done. We're pretty certain they've never done it. And it takes you from self-diagnosing to having something figured out for yourself. It's the ChatGPT that you use, but says, okay, now that I've got this, I'm going to create this for you and serve it the way we serve the compositions. I'm going to pull all these that you need based on SOAAK specific algorithms and serve you what you need when you need it. So if it's in the morning and you need focus, you need to get up, you need to get going, you can do an energy composition or whatever your body needs at that time. If you're winding down through, we're in 190 countries now. I don't know if you know that. We're in 190 countries, and out of everything, we've got 41 million minutes of frequency therapy so far. The number one listened to is the sleep well.
Huh.
So if it's at night, you're drowsy, you're maybe you answer a couple questions, read your biometrics, You may get 90% of what's in our sleep well frequency composition now, but there's going to be a couple that you wouldn't have received unless it would have read your specific biometrics to make it custom for you in the moment. And that's what we're bringing to market.
Wow.
That is intense.
Really exciting.
What is the pushback that you guys get when you say that you do frequency therapy? Because the thing that's, I think, probably difficult for you guys is it's almost, I don't think it's invisible, but people might think
Well,
it's
you're not
invisible.
prescribing a pill and you're not prescribing a quick
exactly.
fix.
So
right?
is it like from the pharmaceutical industry? What's the pushback?
I think the most pushback is education or the lack thereof, I guess. Like, what is it? What is that? That's what we hear a lot. What are frequencies? How do they work? So we spend a lot of our efforts as a company educating, marketing. That's why we do podcasts. That's why we do stuff like this, because we need to talk about it. People need to understand what it is. So I would say that would be most of our pushback. I don't know that it's pushback necessarily, but just, people need that light bulb to go off in their head to say, this is real. This is scientifically proven now. We have a ton of scientific articles all over our website because there's so many scientific studies about frequencies now, thank goodness. And so, I think that's probably is just the lack of education.
Well,
Don't
because of
songs have frequencies too? Like when I go to the gym and there's loud cortisol-inducing music, that's a frequency, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
1000%.
When my grandma was in the hospital, I bought a CD player and a Stan Getz Bossa Nova CD, and I put it on, and she kept requesting that I played the Stan Getz CD, and I think
when you take breaks, I would come in with Iron Maiden, and we're just
I know.
I remember this from the last one. You like heavy metal, and you like Mexican.
I like Bossa Nova.
Bossa Nova.
I'm like, all right,
The
she's
guitar.
gonna
I
turn the
wonder
Stan
what
Getz
the
off.
frequency is of Bossa Nova, though. How do you measure that?
Yeah.
Well, you can measure. There is equipment that you can measure, but it's its own frequency. That's the cool part. So it's not like, unless they are layering like a 432 hertz frequency behind or under their music, it is their own frequency. It's like their own frequency.
It's the
blueprint.
frequency of the instrument or of the sound or whatever's coming out. But we, with our dual frequency, you can now turn on one of our compositions and take it down to level 1. It's kind of like the dog whistle, like your cells can hear it even if you can't. Take it to level 1 and then turn on the Bossa Nova, turn on Iron Maiden.
That's so cool.
Listen
and
to
you
it at
could
the
be,
same
you'll
time.
be getting
Yeah.
that frequency therapy in the background while you're listening to your favorite music.
Oh, I said, Nana, just calm down. This one's called Run to the Hills.
How?
But quickly, but I think this is important to say. There's so many individuals, like let's take sleep, for example. There's so many people that struggle with sleep and anxiety and not being able to get a good night's rest. And they go and there's nothing, I'm not saying this is not a step that might need to exist down the line for someone, but they go get some kind of prescription or some kind of anti-anxiety med, which again, maybe there's a time and place.
Right.
But wouldn't it be great if as a first step, you could do something like this and potentially heal your sleep or your anxiety and get better rest without having to go to that. And maybe eventually you need to go to that step. But if you could do this in an interim, like we as a people are so quick to jump to the prescription, and the pill and the thing. And when I talk to someone like my dad or someone who, I don't want to pick on my dad, anyone that's a little bit like, why would I try that? It's like, well, what if you could do this and then not have to get to that other step?
Right. Well, and some people can't even digest things like that. Like some people literally can't take the medicine, and we're not against medicines in the right time, place, and all of that, but we do see a huge shift to a more holistic approach to taking your health in your own hands, and frequency plays into that. We had a 1-star general. We're completing our second contract for the U.S. Air Force, and we had a 1-star general come to Tulsa, and he said, "I can't sleep." He said, "I wasn't able to sleep since I was at 9/11." He was the first boots on the ground.
Yikes.
He said, "I can't unsee these things that are in my mind." He said, 30 days ago, I went off Ambien. We're not telling people to do this either. You're really not supposed to do this. He went totally off Ambien, started listening to the sleep well frequency with SOAAK, slept every night. He said, "I'm sleeping like a teenager, 8 hours a night, where before I could only sleep 3 or 4. I was always interrupted." Came to Tulsa, Oklahoma to see who were the people creating these things. And that was a huge testimonial. So out of 190 countries, our sleep well is the #1 played frequency. And we find, Michael, that if you can get a good night's sleep, good deep REM sleep, where your cells are restored and healed and all that, and your mind's relaxed, that a lot of times anxiety, depression, cortisol spike, all that stuff will go away just from a great night's sleep. And that's probably why our number one listened to frequency right now is the sleep well frequency.
Yeah, and the reason I mention it, and I won't go in the backstory again, but when I tell people that I'm in pain, the first response is, "Oh, are you on pain meds? Did somebody give you like some-"
Exactly.
And that's like, and it's a normal thing for a lot of society to ask, like, "Oh, what medication?" I'm like, well, there is a time and place. I'm not saying people don't need meds, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't use these tools if they absolutely need them, but there's a lot of things like this that you can look into before jumping to that. We're just so quick to jump to the meds.
Well, and I think it's important too, because it's a long-term thing that you do. So the habits that you create your 90-year-old self or 80-year-old self. And so if you always choose, holistic, then you're probably going to be a healthier body 50 years from now. If you're always choosing something that has side effects and that breaks the body down, like prescription medication, it's hard, very hard on the liver, it's hard on your organs. 50 years from now, your body might look a little bit different. And so that's something that we think about coming from clinic. It's like, it's habits. So how often do you want to take a Tylenol? How often does your back hurt? Maybe once a month, maybe once a week. So if these are habitual things that you do, that's why we're so passionate, because it's like, here, this is something holistic that has absolutely no side effects but good. So try to choose something holistic first and get into that habit. And then if you need something stronger, then take it to the next level. But it's just creating good habits.
That stuff's always available.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
exactly.
I guess if you could kind of have people pause for a second.
Funny, because he was even taking something that's over the counter, which is as simple as Tylenol. You look at Tylenol, you're like, it's harmless.
Yeah.
But then we went out to dinner and him and his friends are having martinis. And I'm like, you cannot have one sip of alcohol on acetaminophen.
Yep.
Not one.
Yep.
And anyone can go Google this. I did it once at 21 and my liver hurt.
Yes.
Yep.
And I couldn't figure out why. And it was because acetaminophen does not mix with alcohol. Like you aren't even supposed to take it on a Monday and drink on a Wednesday. Like your liver can't process it.
Right.
I guarantee you though, 80% of people who are listening don't even know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, you have to take Advil instead, which is probably not great for you either.
If I was going to brag for my liver, I would say my liver's been through worse.
Okay.
But no, through educating people about these alternatives, though, we've been around some very high-level thought leaders, and Dr. Michael Beckwith, he's very well known. He actually joined our company as the director of Mindfulness.
Very cool.
and doing some great things. And he has said, and he teaches from Agape on Rodeo Drive, and he's got this huge following and all this stuff. He's all over the world. The day after he started using our frequencies in the back of his meditations from Agape, we jumped to 120 countries.
Wow.
Like the day after. It's crazy. But he says that we're going to look in 10, 15, 20 years and see how archaic it was to take medicine for this, to be cut on for that, to be, it's going to look archaic because of frequency.
That is cool. How can I use frequency as a mother to support my baby in my stomach and my kids?
Yes. So something that I would recommend for you to do, I used frequencies while I was pregnant all the time. I love frequencies.
Legally, we can't recommend legally.
I'll
If
let
you're
you say
pregnant,
that.
if you're under 18, if you're,
What would you tell me off air as a friend?
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
If we were
off
just
air.
talking.
Off air. Well, one of my favorite things is to play it throughout the house. So I did that a lot when I was pregnant, because it's like I didn't want to just bombard my body all the time with this one and then this one right after, one right after another, because I was careful. This was my first pregnancy that I had used the frequencies for, but I played them every day. So I'd do it 20 minutes. I'd play it in the house. And so sometimes I'd put on my headphones, but for the most part, I'd play it in a speaker that's like 6 feet from me or whatever. And I was cautious. I was safe, but I was not scared at all of the frequencies, because again, it's just like music, just like playing Beethoven. It is a frequency and it's affecting your body. And so,
and during her delivery, by the way, we go in and we've got this doctor, and she goes, "Do you mind if some of my students watch, because she was training for something and she thought we were cool parents or whatever." And we go, no problem. So there's about 5 or 6 students looking back there. She comes in and she goes, "Okay, it looks like it's about time. Go ahead and lean back." She put on her coat. She turned. She goes, "Okay, push." She pulled the baby out, one push, one time.
It was incredible.
In about 1 minute.
It was 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
2 minutes. And then the nurse, she cleans the baby up and she looked at her students and she goes, That's how you deliver a baby.
I
Were
really
you listening
did.
to Frequency in the delivery room?
Yes. Yeah, you had it playing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which one did you have playing?
I think it was anti-anxiety.
I was about to say, I don't know.
That's
I
probably
was
was for me.
Yeah.
I mean, oh
To
my
tell you the
God.
truth.
I thought it was going to be like, have a beautiful delivery, and it's like anti-anxiety for him. Michael's like playing like back support. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bitch?
No, I told you, you're going to be delivering
focus
to
focus in.
The Trooper by Iron
like, I
Maiden.
gotta-
You're going to just grit your teeth. And
But being around that atmosphere with good vibrations, good frequencies, you saw our son. He's the one that came in and did the John 3:16, memorized it, and you feel the spirit of that. You feel the vibe. I've always said you're very intuitive. You're very grounded. You're very aware of what's going on with you and in you and around you. So that stuff, you're going to be more susceptible to that than maybe other people.
But I will add this. The cool part about listening to frequencies as a friend off air while you're pregnant is, the frequencies, when you play them through your headphones, they're going into the skeletal system. And so it's like the electricity of it all goes through the skeletal system, and it your cells are hearing it and your cells are oscillating. Well, so is the baby. So everything that's happening inside of your body, baby's getting it too. So the baby gets a little frequency treatment. So if there's anything going on while it's developing, its cells are rapidly expanding, doubling every single second of the 9 months. And so I think I always just really meditated on that while I listened to the frequencies while I was pregnant, because I'm like, it's so much more. It's not just about me right now. This is about that baby and the fact that it's growing so quickly and so many trillions of little mechanisms are happening inside that baby. That 20 minutes I listened to that one frequency, like anti-anxiety or whatever it was, like, I bet that really helped. Like, I bet that did a lot.
Well, the intention,
for the baby.
like you said, the intention too.
It's funny. I haven't talked about this on the show yet, but I meditate every morning. I've talked about that, but I use tuning forks in the meditation, and I put the tuning forks over my stomach.
Yes,
Yep.
People
I
are
love
like,
that.
"You've jumped the shark, Lauren."
No, that's so
No,
good.
no,
I
that's
do
good.
the tuning forks over my stomach, and I swear to God, I know this sounds crazy. My stomach relaxes, which gives the baby room to
Of course.
move.
Yes.
And the baby will move and like
Yes.
dance, not like it like just moves around because it has space to move because the tuning forks relaxed my womb.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
gonna get pulled for something.
No, but
No, it's true. It's true.
For many reasons, which is another podcast that I would happily get into. Wellness itself and self-care has become so polarizing for so many people. And I think a lot of it's based, personally, I think this, in people's egos to kind of take a very specific stance on something and then not be fluid enough to move off that. So when I talk to people about some of these things, I'm like, what is the downside of trying and experimenting with this? We're so open to saying like, hey, get the knife out, get the medicine, do this right away.
100%.
We're not nearly open enough to things that really like, maybe you tried and you're like, oh, that wasn't for me. Okay, move on. Maybe try meditation.
Michael, I will give Michael I will end it with a compliment to Michael. My husband is very, very open.
No, but it's not that I'm open.
You are,
I just
though.
don't see the logic in not experimenting with things that could potentially have a great effect with very little cost or downside.
Yeah, you don't look at me like I'm
largely
crazy.
what we're talking about here is there are these frequencies that exist that could potentially enhance, change, heal, whatever in your life. And all you have to do is listen.
Yeah.
And that
Exactly.
is your cost or entry point to be able to potentially avoid some kind of ailment or anxiety or sleep or focus, whatever it may be. And there's a segment of this population that's listening, they know who they are, that are kicking and screaming in their chair saying, I would never do this. Does make any sense? And like, it's very hard to reach those people. But for the other people, it's like, what is the downside?
Right. Well, and with no downside, and a lot of times they say, okay, what's the catch? How much does it cost? We've always given your audience 30 days free.
Oh, that's nice.
And in 30 days,
that's what you guys are doing.
They're going to know whether it's beneficial. They'll probably know in 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. But to go on 30 days and put that as part of your everyday life, there literally is no downside. It doesn't cost anything to try a modality that people in 190 countries are saying this works.
So
but try it yourself.
You guys gave everyone their first month free. So you can go to SOAAK, SOAAK.com/skinny and use code skinny. And if you guys have sleep or stress or focus or fucking back pain, You can reset your nervous system with this. The reason I wanted to have you guys back on is because that episode did so well. And I think people are genuinely curious about this subject that's very niche. I don't think in 20 years it's going to be very niche.
Yes.
Right.
Hopefully 10, hopefully 5. But
be very popular.
yeah, I think it's going to be very popular. And I think that it's very helpful. So where can everyone find you guys on Instagram with any questions? Pimp yourself out.
Yes, you can find us at SOAAK app. It's SOAAK, SOAAK app.
And just so I can make sure it's ingrained in my brain, which one should we listen to tonight for Michael? The pain support?
The pain
That's
support.
the one.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll see a difference. You will. And listen
Michael,
to
try
the
it.
John 3:16 thing, and you
gonna do
can
it.
be. Yeah.
I will report back.
Honestly,
Yeah,
put the phone, closer, right by the pain spot on your
I'm gonna put
back,
the
on your
speaker right by the
bed.
speaker.
Yeah, your speaker.
But turn off the Wi-Fi.